Now that I've trained many new beginner women Bible teachers, let me show you the top 3 rookie mistakes that can keep you from teaching the Bible faithfully, especially as a rookie. Number 1, you don't know the difference between good stuff and God's stuff. No offense, but a lot of us, when we began, and I did it too, you read a text and you think of some good, honest, helpful, inspiring things, but it's not actually what the author intended. For example, the prodigal son, Luke 15, right? Lots of people to go to that and they're like, oh, look, this father's so compassionate and kind and he's reconciling his sons. So then they talk about like 3 marks of a godly father, which is good and helpful. It just has nothing to do with what the original author intended. When Jesus told that story, it was meant to be a rebuke to the self-righteous Pharisees for not rejoicing that God was pursuing and rejoicing when sinners got saved. So again, it's good stuff, like how to be a godly father, but it's not God stuff. What God intended to say was that we should rejoice when sinners repent, and it was a rebuke to self-righteous people. So we have to make sure that we're teaching expositionally, aligning with the author's intent, not just saying good stuff. Number 2, the archaeology trap. Again, we all do this. It's where you're smart and hardworking, so you start doing a ton of research, and then you start finding all these fascinating things. So, for example, whenever you're teaching on Jesus dying on the cross, you get all into the details behind the text, right? Like the cat of 9 tails, or how the cross worked, or the fact that Jesus would have suffocated to death, or how much blood he would have lost, or how many hours it took. And it's all a bunch of stuff that the authors actually aren't emphasizing themselves. Instead, we should value historical stuff, but it shouldn't be the stuff behind the text that God didn't say. It should be the stuff in the text that God did say. For example, John emphasizes that Jesus had a crown of thorns, that he had a purple robe, and that he had a sign that said King of the Jews. Right? So we want to emphasize the historical stuff that the author does say, because that aligns with the stuff that God actually wants to emphasize, not distractions that are interesting, but not really in alignment with God's point, which leads us to the 3rd rookie mistake. You're not teaching inductively, right? So instead of drawing people in and helping them think of the word, asking things like, why do you think the author mentions this crown or this robe? Why do you think that there's a sign that says King of the Jews? What point do you think God is making? And helping them think about the text and come to those conclusions on their own, you just say, hey, everybody, John's trying to emphasize that Jesus is king. Oh, you're right, but you rob them of the opportunity of experiencing the text inductively, and then you rob them of the opportunity to learn how to read the text themselves. So make sure you teach God stuff, not just good stuff. You avoid the archaeology trap, and you teach inductively. Check out my bio for a free course on Bible teaching.